can you share what initially led you to start drinking and what role it played in your life over the 45 years that you said that you drink?
Yeah. So keep in mind, I'm old, so my memory's not the best. But I started my first year of college. I went away to college. Okay. So it was my freshman year. And I grew up, like I said, my father is hard, strict military. So I grew up in a really, really, military type of lifestyle. He was very controlling, and
Mhm.
basically, we went to school, we played sports, and if you didn't do that, you got a job. Okay. So going away to college was a whole new eye-opening experience. So that's how I got my introduction into alcohol, and then I was a cigarette smoker, and then drugs, primarily pot. Okay. And I kind of have kind of a compulsive behavior. Okay. I don't do anything half-assed. It's all or nothing for me. Okay. And
Mhm.
it just stuck with me. And I've thought of this for a little while. I don't really think I had a drinking problem, although alcohol is a problem. I think I lacked the appropriate coping skills. We were not a real tight family. We only spoke when spoken to, and then you
Mm.
responded in one syllable types of responses: no, yes, maybe, that type of stuff. So yeah, so I was never taught coping skills, and I quickly caught on that alcohol was my solution to all of my problems. Okay, I get
Yep.
stressed out, take a couple of drinks. Okay, and I'm an introvert by nature, so social interaction was difficult to me until I took a couple of drinks. Okay, so
Yep.
I ingrained into my head for 45 friggin' years that alcohol is the solution. Okay, so and then I was very good at it. I was what I call a high functioning type of alcoholic. I had good jobs, always worked in management, and always made real good money. Okay, never got into any type of legal trouble. Never got a DUI. I don't think I've ever had a parking ticket. Never got into never got into financial problems. Like for example, I just hit my 5 year sobriety birthday. This is
Oh,
sobriety. Yeah, so this is a sobriety chip. Okay, I place
okay.
the
Can you bring
value.
it up a little bit?
Yeah. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah. So this is my sobriety chip. It's pretty standard, but I place the value of this chip. Okay, with the money that I spent on alcohol and cigarettes. About $10,000 per year is what I was dumping into that, and I did it for 45 years. So luckily, I had
Wow.
a really high-paying job. Okay, but it was just a total waste of money. So that's what I did, and then I was I never went to bars. I drank in the privacy of my own home. Okay. And I was a workaholic. I was the type of guy that worked, 6 days a week, 10 hours a day because work was all I had. And I kind of like the work environment because, like I said, I'm half, I'm a mixed race. Okay. And I've kind of noticed when I was growing up that I wasn't really considered to be white Caucasian, nor was I actually considered to be Japanese because I had white envy. So I was kind of like a half breed. So all of my
Half
friends were,
breed.
yeah, all of my friends were basically half breeds, like mulattoes, Samoans, things like that. And then military bases, there was always a high degree of racism on military bases. But so I was always, I always had to try harder than the normal person just to prove myself. But in a work environment, okay, back then, okay, before this DEI type of stuff, no, it came down to who could do the job. Okay, they didn't
Hmm.
care if you were black, white, male, or female, but if you could get the job done, and I was very successful. I moved up the corporate, ladder quite quickly because I got the job done. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, but there was a price. I mean, my whole life was just basically working. I had no social life, never been married, had girlfriends and things like that. But I to me, the way I kind of think about it, once you get strapped with an addiction like alcohol, your emotional development kind of stops or it's put on hold. Okay, so
Hmm.
I was very very bad about intimate relationships, and I think part of the reason is if you don't love yourself, it's really tough to love somebody else. I was not a big talker. I didn't like to expose myself because of getting hurt, things like that. So yeah, so and then, I did that for, like I said, 45 years. I was very successful at it, but I was never
Yeah.
truly happy. Okay. And then what finally kind of kind of did it for me is shortly after I retired. So I was probably about 66. I started questioning life. Like, geez, I can't believe God put me on this planet just to do this, because I was very successful. I was a big time athlete in high school, got straight A's, things like that. And, my life came down to drinking, 6, 8 bills a day. And I was very lethargic, procrastinated a lot, didn't get anything done. So that's what it came down to, is I started, questioning, my purpose in life. So that was kind of my bottom. I wasn't like the guy that was, sleeping in the gutter with a fifth of MD 2020. No. So
Right.
it was more of an emotional type bottom. And fortunately, I do a lot of walking. I walk out here, and one of the ladies that I was walking with turned me on to this addiction clinic that I eventually went through. Okay. And it's a clinic, it's addiction, but it's also for mental health. So she kind of gave me the push to get over there. She helped me fill out all the paperwork. And then, things started to come together. Okay. And so this program is not a 12-step program. I've been in 12-step programs. I think about 20 years ago, I went through an AA 12-step
Okay.
program, and I have nothing against AA. Okay. But I had a bad attitude at the time. To me, one of the fundamental things you got to have before you want to quit is you got to want it more than anything else. Okay, and
Yes,
that
100%.
desire, yeah, that desire has to come internally. Okay, and I know people, and I have no problems with this, whose motivation is coming from external sources, like I got to do this or my wife's going to leave me. Okay,
Yeah.
I got to do this or my kids are going to not like me. I got to do this or my boss is going to fire me. That's good. I guess anything that gets you off the dime is good, but push comes to shove. At the end of the day, all you got is you. So
Yeah.
it has to be here. So I think that's when I finally made the commitment to hey, yeah, I really want to do this. And it's a priority to me. I kind of believe that if you're really not working on your recovery, you could be working on your relapse. So, and I'm a firm believer of a gratitude practice. I do the same gratitude practice that I've done for the last 5 years. And the first thing I'm always grateful for is just another day on the planet, because trust me, there are a lot of people that went to sleep last night that didn't make that big wake up list in the morning, and they're not
Exactly.
here. That, and the second thing is my sobriety. And then the third thing is my good health. Okay. Because for a 71-year-old, I'm in pretty good condition. But see, good
Yeah.
health is earned. Yeah, good health is earned. Okay. You can't buy it, you can't rent it. You got to get out there and do it. Okay. So so, and then the program I ended up going 5 years ago is based on what's called cognitive behavioral therapy, and I like that. See, AA is more of a spiritual philosophy of life. I got nothing wrong with about that. CBT, or this cognitive behavioral therapy, that's based on more scientific and medical, device. And I'm an analytical guy. If I can't touch it, feel it, smell it, whatever, I don't believe in it. So there's woo-woo thing about God I didn't believe in. Okay, but so I like this, and then CBD is very simple. It's identifying negative thinking, negative behavior, and then reframing that more into positive things.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why like walking is one of my go-tos. I walk every friggin' day. I walk anywhere from 18 to 20,000 steps. I walk year round, and I walk because it gives me time to think. Okay. And then the place I walk with is real popular for dog walkers. So the ladies I walk with, they all have dogs. So that's the time that I socialize. Okay. And then, then I go to the gym in the afternoon to get my cardio zone 2, zone 3 type training on a treadmill. Okay. So, yeah. So kind of what happens is once you kind of get off the dime and it's to me, it's what I call the theory of continuous improvements. You just want to be a little bit better today than you were yesterday, and you just consistently do that, and before you know it, you've come a long way. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like it's kind of like you're on a snow-top mountain, and you start off with a little hand roll, little snowball, and you just let it go, and gravity's going to push it down. It's going to get
Yeah.
bigger, 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 bigger. Before you know it, it's huge.
It's a
So
snowball effect. I mean, it's a good analogy.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, and then the other thing that I think a lot of people do, and I did this too. I never actually thought about just how dangerous. I've studied the science of addiction, specifically alcohol. I know what it
Mm.
does to your body, and I know what it does to your brain. It is really scary. But during my drinking years, I didn't care about that stuff. Okay, it's what I call. I was using what I call my ignorance is bliss philosophy.
And I
I
think a
didn't.
lot of people do that.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to know because what I didn't know wouldn't hurt me. Okay, well,
Exactly.
yeah. So after enrolling into my program, like I said, it's a mental health facility. So I started taking trauma classes, and then I took a class on
Mm.
drug education, and that enlightened me to the fact that hey, I've been, alcohol is a highly addictive, carcinogenic, neurotoxic poison. Okay,
Like
so
100%.
yeah. So after a few months, I gained what I call mental clarity and found an excellent doctor that I went to. And I was very honest with my doctor. Not too many people are honest with their doctor when it comes to their addiction. Doctors lie to their doctors about their drinking habits. So, but this guy was very receptive, very supportive. So, probably over a span of 11 months, he ran me through the gauntlet. I told him I was worried about my lungs because I was a pack a day smoker, and then marijuana is a
S-
little bit more
s-
damaging. Okay.
So
So,
you mentioned when I talked to you that quitting was actually harder, or quitting smoking was actually harder than quitting drinking.
yes, it really was. Okay. And I think the reason for that is like with smoking, it's habituation. You know how many times you do this? Okay. Smoking a pack.
Yeah.
I counted. I smoked a pack a day. I did this motion probably a little over 400 times,
Oh my
day in and day
gosh.
out. And what the brain does, see, the brain contains a high degree of what's called neuroplasticity. It adapts, okay? And when you do something long enough, it creates a neural pathway. It's like a shortcut on your computer or your phone. I have a shortcut to Amazon because I'm not gonna type in Amazon.com on the friggin' time. And that's what happens. That's why you'll notice when people quit smoking, they're like really frigging jittery, okay? Because
Yeah.
that pathway, and that's the same thing with alcohol. Um because alcohol creates a neural pathway, okay, and then that pathway is reinforced every time you do one of these things, and then also because you think it's a solution to your problem. So that's why I do believe that once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, because that pathway is still there. Now, when you change your behavior and you move away from alcohol, that pathway weakens, okay, and maybe some grass grows on it, but it's still there. And I'll guarantee you, most of the time, if you stop, okay, for some period and then you say, hey, I think I can moderate now.
Yeah.
Trust me,
Nope.
moderation doesn't work. But if you
It
do
does not.
that, you're going to light up that pathway again. And before you know it, you're going to be right back to where you were. So I, I know people that who do, and I get nothing wrong with like doing dry January or thing like that. But, you know, they're thinking that, okay, at the end of that month, I can go back to drinking. See,
And then
I
they
have
binge.
ruled it. I have ruled out that I will never moderate. Okay,
Yeah.
never. Okay, so I closed the door on that thing. So anyway, oh, see, I told you I'm rambling again. so,
So I like how you mentioned the habitual because a lot of
yep.
people do quit drinking for a while, and then a lot of people that I have commented say it's worse the second time around. And what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, what's trying to quit or drinking?
Yeah, so they
Yeah,
relapse and
yeah,
then they start drinking again for a while and they decide
yeah.
to quit, but they say it's harder their second time and so on trying to quit than it was their first time.
Well, I can't really speak to that because I've been fortunate. I only quit this one time, and I've never, you know, I can't remember the last time I even thought about alcohol or had a craving for alcohol.
Hmm.
But I follow a what is she? She's a podcaster and she's a biochemist by trade. Okay,
Oh, wow.
but yeah, but she calls herself the sober scientist, and she has a
Yes.
good podcast on this. Okay, in fact, I will send it to you. And then see the process of always recovering, recovering, then falling off, and then recovering. It actually reinforces, you should follow her. It's if you're into that analytical
Yeah.
stuff, it is devastating to the brain what it does. Okay,
And I never
basic,
realized that. And I didn't, I thought it was just bad for, obviously some other things, but I didn't realize how detrimental it was to our actual brains. And then all this time I was like, oh, I have mom brain. No, it was because I was drinking too much
yeah,
brain.
yeah, yeah. No, it is really. And then I've read articles where if you took a cross sectional CT scan of a normal 6-year-old healthy brain, and somebody who's been drinking their entire life, you compare the two CT scans. One is going to look like Swiss cheese, okay, and the other one is going to look normal. And then the brain is actually physically smaller too, okay. Uh,
Crazy.
but and
Literally
they say,
shrinks the brain.
yeah, it does. And then no, it really does. But the brain is pretty tough. It can recover in sobriety. Okay,
Yeah.
but it messes up all your neurotransmitters and things like that. They say that it can take up to a year, maybe 2 years, to get your brain chemistry back in equilibrium, depending upon
That
how
I've
long and
heard
how
that.
hard you drink. Yeah. So anyway, so that scared me more than the body. Okay,
Yeah.
damage. But
Well,
anyway,
because
after
you're a naturally smart person, and this isn't
well, no, no, not
This
really.
isn't. Well, I went to school with a when I was in university. I went to school with a variety of people, and my dorm mate was actually Middle Eastern, half Middle
Hmm.
Eastern, and
Hmm.
she could party all night long, drag herself through the door at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and still make the dean's list.
Hmm.
And so I've always like all of like my Asian friends have always
Hmm.
been like so smart.
Yeah.
And I mean it's
Well,
just like normal.
yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Some people call me really stupid, So, yeah, we are the superior gene pool, though. So, yeah, so that helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, no. So and then, like I said, I'm always working on. 5 years into this game, I'm still working. Like I said, I'm a firm believer that if you're not working on your recovery, you're probably working on your relapse. So
Yeah.
I still devote an hour, 2 hours a day. And what I do is I read a lot of sober blogs. I have probably read over 1,000 sober blogs. These are people who are in recovery and they move to writing as a therapeutic type tool.
Yeah.
That's pretty common. And then me, I move to more physical activity. People get into creative things. So that, and then podcasts. So that's how I found your YouTube channel, is
Love it.
yeah, because my Facebook is just peppered, because it knows what you're thinking, peppered
Algorithm.
with, yeah, peppered with all this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how and I stumbled onto yours, and, I liked it. So I subscribed, and then, yeah, and I like your daily messages. Do you come up with those, or do you get those from someplace? Because they're pretty insightful.
I have the thought. I do.
Oh, okay, okay, they're very
And I
good.
go and I find like quotes and stuff
Yeah,
that
yeah,
prompt me to think about it, and
yeah.
then I just run with it. So,
Okay, well, no, no,
uh,
you're very good at it. You're very
thank
good
you.
at it. I look for it every day. Yeah. So other than that, all I can say that is you got to do a lot of inner work. Okay.
Inner
And
work, yeah.
then, yeah, and that is the secret, because when I quit, I didn't realize even who I was. Okay. And so that's what I do. That's why I like to walk by myself and think. Okay. Read a lot. Uh, but basically, I think in the beginning I had definitely a low self-esteem, low self-confidence, definitely no self-love, and I just continue to work on those things, and chip away on those things, and things, like I said, it picks up. You get traction, and then
Hmm.
they say, you got to do the work. In the beginning it was work, but now it's just me. Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
do. Okay, so it's not work anymore. I actually enjoy it, and I love myself, and I love the person that I am and turning into. I used to be a real flake. Never paid my bills, even though I had more than enough money, but I just couldn't get down to write that check. You just, that
Yeah.
type of stuff. Now, no, I'm the most responsible person I know. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, and so, uh, yeah, so pretty simple. And then to me, it's just, you just got to start and go off the time. And I'm a firm believer of doing it, seek out like-minded people. Okay. They say like birds of a feather flock together. So if you're hanging around with drinkers, you're probably going to be a drinker. You hang around with drug addicts, you may be a drug addict. So, and I'm a firm believer of more, like-minded people, just hanging around those types of people. And I still go to the facility I go to. We have weekly meetings just to get together and chat, talk, talk about something, whatever. But
Yeah.
you got to. So they say that the only thing separates humans from the animal kingdom is we have a high degree of sociability and our ability to reason. And like I said, I drank in the privacy of my own home. If you do that, you got a problem. Trust me. Okay, that isn't really right. So.
Yeah. Well, they say they always, and it was always in my head. And they're like, if you drink alone, then you're an alcoholic. And then
Mhm,
I would like catch myself drinking a bottle by myself.
mhm,
I'm like, oh, am I an
mhm.
alcoholic? No, because I don't need it. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it became such a problem that
yeah,
I was drinking by myself, especially when my husband quit drinking. And then I
yeah,
was drinking by myself in the house. I'm like, well, I'm not alone. I'm just the only one drinking.
yeah. No,
So,
I understand that. To me, I think if you think you got a drinking problem, you do. Okay.
yeah,
If you think you're an alcoholic, you are. You know,
yeah,
because
exactly.
those thoughts wouldn't even be in your mindset to even ponder unless you had a suspicion that hey,
It's a guilty
yeah,
conscience.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So.
I like how you say that you walk because one of our other subscribers, James, he comments a lot. He walks almost like you do every
Hmm.
single day and gets
Hmm.
like 15 plus thousand steps a day.
Hmm.
And I know when I walk more, right now I can't walk as much because I have a hip issue.
Hmm.
I'm working on it, but I noticed that my longer walks, I felt better that day.
Hmm.
And I'm like looking out at the dark sky and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really need to start walking again because that
Hmm.
depression just starts like
Yeah,
settling in. And I'm like, this is why people go back to alcohol is because they're
yeah,
not moving their bodies. They're not getting out and having that like walking
yeah,
time. And so I
yeah.
feel like that's one of the main things to do when you're quitting drinking is get outdoors and do some walking.
Yeah, and then I'm fortunate because where I walk is a forested area, so it is nice walking through the tree line, being with nature.
Yeah.
There's, this in the summertime. There's rabbits, birds, snakes, all kinds of things. So that, and then I live just north of Seattle, so it rains a lot here. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm a firm believer that it's never bad weather; it's just bad gear. So you got to get geared up properly. Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
always walking in the rain. I like it. Uh, it's refreshing. I like the fresh air, and you know, it's just I don't know. It's just good.
Yeah.
So it's very therapeutic. It's one of my go-tos. And then I like to walk early, well, relatively early in the morning to get the morning sun because that's how your circadian rhythm is set is by the sun. Okay, so that's your 24-hour clock. So that works. And my sleeping ever since I quit drinking, I was a crappy sleeper all through my drinking period. Now, and this is probably a result of being physically active. Based on my Apple Watch, I'm averaging probably 8.5 hours of sleep, and
Oh, good.
my deep and REM sleep are really high. So yeah, so I wake up and I feel like $1,000,000. Okay, all
Yeah.
the time. Yeah,
And
rarely. I can't remember the last time I actually was sick. Yeah,
oh, that's a good
yeah,
one too. A lot of
yeah.
people ask about sleep and they always
Oh,
say that they've noticed their sleep got better. How long into your sobriety journey did you notice that your sleep got better?
oh, within months.
Months.
Yeah, a couple months. Yeah, yeah. Your REM sleep come back. See, the REM sleep is kind of critical. That's when the brain kind of restores itself. So you can need that, and you need deep sleep too. But no, within a couple months, it's a proven scientific fact that alcohol does disrupt your REM
Mm.
sleep. Okay, now I'm a friggin' dreaming machine. Okay, I can't I can't remember any of the dreams when I wake up, but man, during the night I'm a dreaming machine. So it only
Yeah.
takes a couple months. Okay, yeah, for me it did, but we're all unique, we're all different, we all have a different story. But
And what are other health benefits that you noticed since you quit drinking?
well, well, this is in a combination of being physically active. Okay, so when I was going through my 11-month evaluation from my doctor, uh, I had high blood pressure. Actually, it was just elevated. He elevated enough that he put me on medication. Okay, and then my LDL cholesterol was a click high. Okay, so he put me on a statin. Okay, this was early on. Okay, so by being physically active, see, I think in lieu of medications, to me, it comes down to this: it's your lifestyle. Okay, it
It
is
is.
it is nutrition, your diet,
Mm-hmm.
motion, exercise, and sleep. And I beat both of those two. I had, after a couple of years, I started getting a reaction from a from my blood pressure medication, and I quit taking them. And I called my doctor. I go, hey, I think I'm getting a reaction. He thought it was kind of weird because, well, you've been on these things for 2 years, okay? So, so I started off with 10 milligram dosage, and then so he said, well, come back in then like 3 or 4 weeks, and we'll go through this again. And he goes, okay, I tell you what, I'm just going to downgrade your medication from 10 to 5. So I was on 5 milligrams. That pills are like about this big. Well, the same thing happened like 6 months later. And I called him and
Huh.
I go, hey, I'm not taking this anymore. He goes, okay, fine. Okay. And then on the LDL, okay, what I did with that is I'm an avid intermittent faster. Okay. So I drove my blood sugar levels down, and then my hemoglobin A1C was down. I think my hemoglobin A1C was up to about 6.3, and my fasting glucose would be, in the low 110s, things like that. But
So,
just through
what
fasting.
hour? What
Hmm?
is your what are your intermittent fasting hours?
Well, what I
Or
do is
like,
I'll fast for a minimum of 20 hours a day, and then my eating window's up to 4. See, now I'm fat adapted. That's the secret to the whole thing. Uh, and many years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I moved to a ketogenic diet, and that is an extremely low carb diet, like 20 grams.
oh yeah,
Okay. So
but
I did.
I so I don't. I didn't ever believe the ketogenic diet because everybody that I knew wasn't doing it correctly. But then I started researching like what is the ketogenic
Hmm.
diet, and I was like, okay, if people are doing it correctly, that's phenomenal. But
Yeah.
so many people do it so dirty, it's
Yeah.
disgusting, and that's when your blood pressure is raised and
Yeah.
cholesterol, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, eat the avocado, not the extra mayo.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
just it drives me crazy. Or all these keto friendly packages. I'm like, it's full of sugar and fat still,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
probably already ate a crap ton of sugar
Yeah.
and fat all day long.
Yeah, no,
Kills me.
no, you're absolutely correct. I did the ketogenic diet for probably 8 months. That to me is probably one of the hardest diets to be on. You see, I don't like the whole concept of ruling out complete food sources. Okay, like
Hmm.
with fruit. Fruit's been on the planet since day one. Okay, but you're limited to berries only. Vegetables, anything that grows above ground. Okay. Well, I like potatoes. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, I'm half Japanese. I've been eating rice since I was this big, but no, rice is out, pasta's out. So there's just, so this is, to me, if you were a carnivore, you would love the ketogenic diet because that's all you can probably eat is meat. I'm not a big meat eater. Okay. So
Yeah.
what I
My
did is,
husband's still doing carnivore.
yeah, well, that to me, I'm just not a big meat eater. So
Me
what I
neither.
did is I bounced up to what I call a low carb diet. So I keep my carb intake around 75 grams or less. Okay, so that helps
Hmm.
if you move over to fasting because that's the difference between fasting and a caloric restrictive diet. See, on a caloric restrictive diet, you're just I mean, you may need, your TDEE, which is your total daily energy and expenditure, could be up around, 2,000, but most diets will give you a meal plan and put you at like 1,500. So you're
Thank you
short.
for bringing that up because so many people undereat, and you have to
Yep.
be in the right calorie deficit because if your body naturally burns 2,000 a day and you're only eating 1,500, what about all the other movement that you're doing during the day? So you're starving your body, so you're not going to get
Yeah. Well,
progress.
your body's going to move into starvation mode, okay?
Yes.
And then what it's going to do is going to gear your metabolism down, okay? And so, but see, with fasting, you don't train the body because this is a natural process with the body. It's just you've never done it because a lot of people are sugar burners. You train your body to learn that, okay, when my glucose or sugar is gone, move to my fat right away. So it's called a metabolic switch, and you do that over a period of time. Your body, my body now knows, okay, that when it's done burning up the sugar, glucose, flip right over to my fat, and that's what happens. So I could do that. 2,000 only eat 1,500 because that delta of 500, my body is burning fat. Okay, but if you're
Yeah.
not fat adapted, no, you're going to go into starvation mode. That's why, caloric restrictive diets, the success rate of those over a 3-year time frame is like 5%. They never work, okay? And you're
Hmm.
starving your body, okay? So you have to be fat adapted. And I follow, on Reddit, I follow a lot of fasting groups, and I hear these people. Well, I tried to do my first 48-hour fast, and I got hungry 8 hours into it. Dude, come on, you know,
Yeah.
you're probably still, a sugar burner, So anyway, I like that.
I've done some fasts, and I think the most I got up to was 56 hours.
Oh, that's good.
The 36-hour one was fine.
Hmm.
I wouldn't mind doing that again, but
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the long fasts. I'm not a
No,
fan. I feel
I'm.
like the last one screwed my body to where now if I get hungry, I
Yeah.
like go into this like I'm
Yeah.
starving
Yeah.
and my body is like eat eat eat.
Yeah. No, the people I follow on it, say 72 hours max on the fast. See, a 36-hour fast to me is kind of easy because I do it. My last meal will be on Sunday, okay, at 7, and then you sleep, then you fast the next day, and then you sleep. So, of that
Yeah,
36 hours, you know, 15 of it is you're asleep. So it's pretty
true.
easy to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
but
always started we started in the evening. We did it last Thanksgiving and then
yeah.
we did it again in January. But we did the 36-hour one after Thanksgiving and then we
Mhm.
stopped eating at like after we were super full from Thanksgiving. So it
Yeah.
wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
it still
yeah.
got hard. I still
Well,
struggled.
yeah. Okay. That's kind of cheating, though, in a way.
I,
you know,
I know.
that's another thing when it came to my drinking years. I used to live on Tums. I mean, I ate Tums all day long, day after day after day. And I noticed that, after because it's just screwing up your gut microbiome. I mean,
Yeah.
but when I quit, I noticed, hey, I'm laying off the Tums. I'm not eating as much Tums. And then when I switched to fasting, geez, I feel good. I never have a stomach problem. Okay.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
yeah, no. So I fast because not to lose weight, but that is definitely going to be a byproduct. But it's healthier. I think it's healthy. Think about how we used to live hundreds and hundreds of years ago. We didn't eat 3 meals a day. Okay,
No.
uh, no. I mean, and then the thing about food is the first. I find this interesting. The first grocery stores came into existence in 1916, and they were Piggly Wigglies. I don't know if you've ever heard of Piggly
Oh,
Wiggly.
I've heard of them. I've never
Yeah,
been
okay,
to one.
they were Piggly Wigglies. So prior to that, if you were hungry, you had to go out and kill something, fish for something, or grow something. That required a
Yeah.
lot of energy. Okay. Nowadays, you can sit in your chair, order what you want, somebody will pull it, and you can
Yeah.
have it delivered. Okay, you can have it delivered. Okay, and
I am
then
very guilty of that with Costco because I cannot step into Costco without spending
yeah,
at least $600. So I have them deliver it to me now.
yeah. Well, gee, so that, and then the on the like cell phones. When I was growing up, there was no cell phones.
Same.
Okay, yeah, and then so everything is geared to keep your butt in the chair, which is not what you want to go. They say that the average person, hundreds of years ago, would be walking 15 miles a day. Okay,
Yep.
and then meals were very, some days you ate, and some days you didn't, depending upon what you
Yep.
catch. And the days you didn't eat, you lived off this fat. So it's like hibernating bears. They try to get as fast as they can. They go into hibernation. They live off the fat. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say they want to keep us fat, lazy, and unhealthy because, I mean, that makes
I
money.
I yeah, no. Yeah, ever since commercial, farming and whatever came to existence, I think they actually put, sugar in everything because sugar is like alcohol. It becomes
It's
addicting. Okay.
worse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's what it is. Because like I said, when I first kicked over to the ketogenic diet, I looked for things that were low carb. It came up with like a little list like this.
Yeah.
So I think they purposely do that because it's big money.
And
Okay. Everything is
people don't
no.
know how to read nutrition labels. So
Yeah.
they'll think that it's healthy, but they don't flip it over and actually read the
Yeah.
nutrition label. And
Yeah.
I I understand fruit has sugar in it. I get that.
Hmm.
And I know like some vegetables have sugar in it too. But
Yeah.
when
Oh
you
yeah.
go and get one of those naked smoothies and you think that you're doing something healthy for your body, if you look at how much sugar is in those, it
Yeah.
is disgusting because
Yeah.
that's added sugar. I
Yeah.
mean, I get the no, I get the regular sugar, but when it says includes, I'm like, that is
Yeah.
disgusting. Just like
No.
soda. Like there's at least 70 something grams of sugar total in soda.
Oh
So
yeah,
those naked smoothies are just as full of
yeah,
sugar as a soda.
yeah. My kind of rule of thumb that I try to follow: if the ingredients is more than two or three, you don't want it. Okay,
Yeah.
so ideally you want to stay with single ingredient foods, like
Hmm.
pork contains pork. Okay, chicken contains
Yeah.
chicken. That type of stuff. But when the ingredients list is like this and you can't pronounce half the words, no.
Right? And that's my husband, since he started doing carnivore diet, he looks at every single nutrition label now. And like, where were you like a year and a half ago?
So
Like
yeah,
paying attention to this.
yeah,
But
and
it's
and
crazy.
yeah, and another thing that I got onto. It's probably been a couple of years ago. Next to sugar, the worst thing you can eat is the seed oil. Ever heard of seed oils?
Yes, he
Yeah,
is like against seed oil also.
yeah. No, so I buy my mayonnaise, but I only buy it with avocado oil. Okay, so seed oils are terrible. Oh, we gotta go.
No, hold on.
Oh,
Go, go get a drink. Sorry, she was like she needed a drink. She thought
oh,
she
no,
couldn't
no,
come
no,
out here.
yeah, no.
Yeah, no, seed oils are I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of things on like Instagram lately, and it's like they always say the seed oils, I mean, people are just so blind to what is in these nutrition labels. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, during the 90s, we used to eat different foods, but those
Mm-hmm.
same foods have so many more added
Oh yeah.
ingredients in them.
Well, I think you're right, and I think when it comes to commercial farmers, they see they don't care too much about the nutritional value. They want it to grow big and fast. Okay, and
Yeah.
then keep in mind everything has to be has to last what's called shelf life. So they add chemicals because by the time they get that tomato there, if they're not adding a chemical to it to extend its shelf life, it's going to be rotten. So it's
Yeah.
just additives. But anyway, so. So anyway, when it comes back to the original alcohol, trust me, man, it's never too late to start, always too early to quit. And it
Exactly.
has been,
I do have a question for you. So if you could, as someone who has navigated sobriety and the challenges of staying quit, what role or yes, what role does community play in your journey?
okay, say that one more time now. Can you?
So, what role does community play in your journey throughout your
Well,
sobriety?
I think socialization is important, but socialize with like-minded people. Okay,
Yeah.
like I said, you're the sum of the five people you hang around with. Okay, so do not hang around with five losers, or you'll be the sixth. Okay,
Yeah.
so no, like-minded people. That's why I like going to my weekly group because they're all like me. They're into 5 years, 7 years sobriety, things like that. And then people always worry about geez, I'm going to lose my friends. Okay, trust me, they were never friends to start off with. They were drinking buddies. Okay,
I
and I love.
I I struggle with that one because I have friends that, you know, I was like, wow, we're lifers. And then I
Mm,
quit drinking. I changed my life. And then now I feel like I'm shunned from a lot of things. And then so it's kind of hurtful, but at the same time, I'm just like, whatever, I can find new friends, but then I find new
yeah,
friends and they get jealous. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, then why
yeah,
did you ever exclude me in the first place?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. There's an excellent book, and it's called The Four Agreements. Okay,
four
and
agreements.
yeah, Four Agreements, and it's only about 120 pages. It's real short, but one of the it, see, my problem, since I had a low self worth, is I continually seek validation from outside sources.
Hmm.
Okay, trust me, I don't do that anymore, and I think one of the reasons why is I have a better idea of who I am. So
So,
I don't take anything personally. Trust me.
how far into your journey did you learn that?
Uh, well, it's how far? Probably, probably late in my first year when I started to do a lot of the in-depth, inside type work.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
Because
So,
a lot of people say a lot of people mention their friends and their friend groups in the very beginning of sobriety, and like I've only been on this journey for almost 16 months now, and I'm slowly learning what you just said, but it's still hard to completely grasp. So I
Hmm.
guess like for the audience, um, it does take at least a year and a half to a couple of years to
Yeah,
adapt
it,
to
it,
all the
it's a,
changes.
like I said, we're all very unique. So,
Hmm.
what works for me may not work for you, but,
Sure.
I have just, like, like I said, the four agreements. One is, be impeccable with your word. Okay, that's kind of critical because your word can either lift somebody or destroy somebody. And I remember my father growing up. Like I said, he was strict military, but he never beat us. Okay, never beat us, never laid a hand. But he was the best yeller. To this day, I can vividly recall some things that he told me. Okay, like bruises, things like that, they heal. Okay, but
Yeah.
once you hear a word, it's very difficult to unhear it. Okay,
Verbal
so
abuse, emotional
yeah,
abuse, mental abuse.
yeah, yeah. So be impeccable with your words. Don't take anything personally. I don't do that because I know who I am. I have a better idea of who I am. And
Yeah.
then you don't really know me, so how can you say okay? And chances are, what you say is more of a reflection of who you are, inside of you. So that
Good point.
don't make it. Don't make any assumptions, and always try your best. I'm a firm
What
believer.
what what do they say? Making assuming makes an ass out of
Yeah,
you, not
you and
me, or
me.
something like that.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah. And then yeah. And then always do your best. But anyway, so what it comes down to, you know, is just like what I say, inner work. Okay, getting confident, and that will come. Okay, uh, it truly is one day at a time. Just continuous improvements. Always just try to be a better version of yourself each and every day. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, and then keep busy. I'm a very busy person. I know people my age. Well, I know people my age, and they're all what I call couch potatoes. There's so no, you got to keep moving. That's the secret to
So,
life. So
what do you? How could? What is your encouragement to people that try to do sobriety in silence? Like they try to. I just to me, I'm trying to wrap my
mhm.
brain around it because I don't think that you can get sober in silence. Like
Yeah,
sitting by yourself is not going to
yeah.
help you.
Well, I think it was Albert Einstein. Yeah, I think it's Albert Einstein. He has a saying: "You can't solve a problem with the same mindset that created it." Okay,
Ooh,
so no, you're probably not the best one to solve that problem because you're the one that got you there. Okay,
yes.
and you got to be humble. Okay, ask for help. Okay,
Yes,
and
that's a good one.
yeah, so no, so and I used to be that way. I used to be well, cocky or lack humility, and I remember saying I can get myself out of this problem. I can do it until I realized, now wait a minute, I'm the one that got me here. Okay, so
Right.
maybe I should seek some advice or some input from an outside source. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I keep a very open mind. Um, yeah, I keep an open mind, and to me, if it doesn't kill you, it's a good learning experience. It's like this room. I've never actually been in this room, but I knew they had the room, and they just this library just changed its hours. It's actually open on Sunday, so this is the first day it
Oh,
opened. So I just walked in. I go, hey man, can I use the room for a little bit? Oh yeah, go ahead, Ken. So, but they do know me here. So yeah,
oh, that's
just
nice.
yeah. So no,
Yeah.
no.
Um, Another question. What advice would you give to someone who's contemplating sobriety but may feel intimidated by the long journey ahead?
Well, well, I mean that's a good point, but try it, you be it's just so much better on the other side. Okay,
It is.
trust me, the path you're on now is going to be, it's going to be a dead end pretty soon. Okay, it's probably going to shorten your life and definitely, you know, uh, compromise your quality of life. Okay,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not easy, but it's actually after you quit, I think it's actually gets kind of difficult. But then
Hmm.
everything kind of comes together, clicks together, and the journey is worth it. Like I said, 1,000 of sober blogs, and not one time have I read, well, geez, I've been sober for 6 months and it really sucks, I'm going to go back to drinking. Nobody does that.
Oh, I hate that. Oh, I'm like,
Yeah,
you came so far. What
yeah,
happened?
yeah. So no, don't give up. It's worth the payoff. I think it's, and I think some of it is we've turned into an instant gratification society. We want it, we
Yeah.
want it now. You got to put the work in. Sorry, it's like good health. Good health is earned. You got to do the heavy
You can't
lifting.
take Ozempic and be healthy overnight.
Yeah, yeah, huh? Yeah. I like that. But you got to do the heavy lifting. All the heavy lifting
Yeah.
comes down to you, and it's just going to make you better, stronger. So no, like I said, it's the best mistake. I mean, the best decision I've made. And then I used to think to myself, God, I should have done this 20 or 30 years ago. No, everything is as it should be,
Yes.
so
And I say that to people because I mean, we can all go back and say, I wish I didn't drink. I shouldn't have drank. I shouldn't, but it made you the person you are today. Like if
yeah,
I didn't drink, I wouldn't be here like getting comments from people saying
yep,
you helped me quit drinking.
mhm,
I'm like, so my journey has helped other people better
yep,
their life.
yep. No, no, I totally agree with that. So
It's
yeah,
crazy how that works.
yeah.
Uh, so hold on. I had some questions written out. So how has reaching this 5-year milestone impacted your outlook on the future, and what goals or dreams are you now excited to pursue? I mean,
Mm.
you've come so far. Is there anything that you have bettered in your life besides your health?
Hmm.
That's an obvious one. Like have you got into different hobbies or anything, or what do you look to pursue now that you're definitely over that bridge?
Yeah. Uh, well, like I said, I'm not really so much into, dates and things like that, like 5 years. And like I said, I haven't thought or had cravings about alcohol in a long frigging time. It's just not
Yeah.
in the new version of me. Okay. And all I want to do is just always just strive to be a little bit better than I am. Okay. I don't think I'm going to solve cancer or anything like that. I just I want to give back. That's why I like doing this type of stuff, like what you're
Yeah.
doing, because to me, that to me is a win-win. Okay,
Yeah.
you're going to help somebody, and it's good for you. So I just want to
Exactly.
I just want to continue growing as a person.
Yeah.
So
And age is
so
just a number, so it doesn't define you. Like
yep.
you can you're 71, but you could be healthier than a 31-year-old
Oh yeah.
and
No, I
still
agree.
go further in life than that 31-year-old will ever go, even
Hmm.
though you're 71. It
Yeah.
doesn't stop at any
Yeah.
age. We can still keep bettering ourselves.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, yeah, I agree with that. And then, like I said, I used to be an introvert, but I'm now kind of more of an extrovert type person. I shop at the Walmart down here, and I go there, once a day or whatever. Everybody knows me. Everybody loves me. Okay, I go to Planet Fitness. Everybody knows me. Everybody loves me. So I just want to give out. And I think what it is my vibration level. It's positive. I
Yeah.
can sense people who have high vibration and people who have low vibration. Okay, so
Yep.
so it makes them happy. It makes me happy, and I'm a firm believer of you know you know compliments, because that's something that costs no money. You don't have to give them money. So
Yeah.
making I feel good when I make other people feel good. So I just bless them with my presence. That's
Yeah.
all it takes.
How do
So
you I don't know if you go out to eat very often or not, but how do you handle situations where people ask you for a drink, or especially in the beginning, were you in any situations that you were felt awkward when people asked you if you wanted a drink?
no, I was kind of fortunate. Well, not kind of, but anyway, when I started in my rehab program, COVID hit shortly thereafter. Okay, so
Good
yeah,
old
there
COVID.
was no, so that was probably a godsend in a way. So no, and
Some
I'm
of
not
us
a big,
drank more during COVID.
yeah. So I'm not, no, and then I'm not a big social person. But now it's kind of like there's a Mexican restaurant up here, and my me and my drinking buddies, we used to go up there, and I always thought it was for the good Mexican food. It was for the ice cold Dos Equis beer, okay? And then I remember when I got sober, I'm going, God, I can't go to that Mexican restaurant forever now. Okay. Then I started thinking, well, a lot of restaurants actually serve alcohol. Yeah? So you're going to avoid
Yeah.
every restaurant. You just got to come to terms with it. Okay. It's like,
Yep.
no, thank you. I'm good. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because
So you
that's
got
the
to move.
first thing. That's the first thing when you sit down, especially at a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
Because we've decided we're on this new. I don't know. We're just trying new things. The last couple of weeks, we've been to
Yeah.
two nice restaurants. The first thing they do is go down the whole entire wine list and all their
Yeah.
seasonal cocktails. And
Yeah.
it's just so awkward because they're so into it that you don't want to interrupt them. You just want them to do their job. And then
Yeah.
at the end, I'm like, what are your mocktails? And they're like, oh, we
Yeah.
have a teetotal list. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. When they do that to me, I go, yeah, a Diet Coke.
You just interrupt them.
Yeah. Well, no, I wait until they get done because they do have a job to do. I agree with that. But no,
Yeah.
I'll just take a Diet Coke.
Like
So,
last night, the lady, she just was so into it, and I felt so bad. And I was just like, I cannot interrupt her. I'm just gonna let her finish. And then at the end, we just were like, can we have a soda and lime? And then I ended up finding a mocktail or one of the cucumber refreshers. And I'm like, can I get this as a mocktail? And
yeah.
she's like, oh yeah. So she brought it back, and I was like,
Hey,
all
I
right.
like that. Yeah. So, what do you think about these non-alcoholic drinks like beer? Beer is my drink of choice. Do you do these NA beers? You know.
I don't. I in the very beginning of quitting drinking, I was totally against them,
Hmm.
but I still don't drink the actual NA beers. I've had like a couple. I'm not saying I don't buy them frequently,
Yeah.
but I will buy like the sparkling hop water because it tastes like uh
Hmm.
I like the hop taste. Um
Hmm.
I think for me, the NA beers defeat the purpose for me
Hmm.
because it still has calories and
Yeah.
all like other junk in it that I don't personally want. But I feel like if it helps some people, that's great. Like I had Max on a couple weeks ago, and that's how he quit drinking is he just started buying NA beers. So I feel like if it can help you, that's great. And
Yeah.
I like the movement that we're going towards NAs, but NA beer per se it's not for me.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, I haven't tried it. The thing that, the thing that, well, it doesn't worry me, but it comes in what I think it typically comes into what looks like a regular beer bottle. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, I can see where it could be triggering, and you go, hey,
Yeah.
I want this in a glass. Well, it comes in what's called like a schooner. So I'm
Yep.
just more, even though I just don't like the triggering, the potential triggering effect. And trust me, a long time in the beginning, I tried before the NABOs became popular. There was one, okay, and it was
Oh,
called Near
duels.
Beer. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, or duels, okay. And I remember drinking, and people were asking, "Well, Ken, what are you drinking?" Oh, I like the taste of beer. No, you like the alcohol in the beer. It's a beer
Yeah.
itself doesn't taste very good.
Yeah.
So
But
anyway.
I personally like the hop waters. Like I get Sierra Nevada. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with Sierra Nevada because it's a
Hmm.
PNW. They have a hop. It's called Hop Splash. Lagunitas has a hop flavored water, which is super good. And then the
Hmm.
brand Hop Water. I really like those. The only NA beer that I've personally tried and bought was Heineken 00
Yeah,
because I don't. It's a mental thing for me, and the .05 or whatever. And I
yeah,
know people like argue with me and say food has that much in it as well. And I'm like, but to me,
yeah,
if it says 00, I will try it. But if it says zero,
yeah,
whatever 5,
yeah,
like it's not for me.
yeah. Huh. Okay.
I don't know. And
Yeah.
let me rewind. I got some Two Towns has a sidekick, and it's a 0% cider.
Mm.
And I was like, I just want to try it. I tried one, and then I would give it to my friends when they would come over because they like
Yeah.
cider. So I was like, it's nice to have like a variety of NAs in my fridge because when we all sit around and
Yeah.
I'm one of those habitual like I need something comforting for some
Oh
reason.
yeah.
in my hand. If it's soda water, I'm completely fine. If it's coffee, I'm completely fine. But it's the comfort of, I don't know, it's like having a blankie. Like I sleep with a blanket still.
Yeah,
But like if I go to a
yeah,
concert or something, I'm more comfortable if I just have something in my hand, whether it's a
yeah.
pretzel or I'm sure eventually that'll go away, but
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
I'm the same way. Like I said, I was a heavy beer drinker. Okay. I always have to have, something like, I'm a big,
Yeah.
I drink water or sparkling water, but that's about it. But I'm always sipping, sipping something. It's just habit, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So other than that, first of all, I think you do a great job on all your media platforms. And, like I said, I enjoy your posts. And I know you're helping a lot of people, which is good. Yeah. So,
Well, that's my goal. And when it goes to community, without my YouTube community, if I never started that, I don't even think that I would be as far as I am now. But
mhm,
like having that online community has helped so much. So like for those of us that don't go to AA or haven't been to
mhm,
rehab, but an online community can help. I mean, I think that you have to try anything that can help
mhm.
you. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't like social situations, so you probably will never find me in an AA class
Yeah,
or whatever you call it.
yeah.
But
Well, yeah. I had well, I had a bad experience in one of my AA meetings I went to, and like I said, this was like 20 years ago. And like I said, I made pretty good money, so I drove up to this AA meeting that I was going to attend. Okay, and at the time I had a real nice car. I had a Lexus SE 400, wearing a Rolex watch, and I walked into this meeting, and I was looking around, going, "Oh man." I had to take my Rolex watch off because I was afraid someone was gonna,
yeah,
take it from me, and then snuck out to my car, drove away. And then the next time I went, I parked 2 blocks away. Didn't wear the Rolex, but yeah, I just never felt comfortable in AA meetings.
yeah.
I guess you got to find the right one.
Right. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's a stereotypical thing. And I think you saw my post probably about Brene Brown the other day where she said she didn't want to be labeled as something like, hi, my name is Megan and I'm
Yeah.
a recovering alcoholic. Like
Yeah.
I don't like that. And then somebody texted me a while ago and said, do you know my friend Bob? Or I don't know, something. And I
Yeah.
was like, who's Bob? But they had been to AA and they're like, never mind. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, then they explained to me what it was. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. That's a good point, and that's one of the reasons I don't like it. Well, I don't care for it. Is to see. I don't need to see. That was another life for me. I don't need to be reminded about alcohol, every
yeah,
week or whatever. Dude, I I've closed that chapter on my book. I'm moving forward,
yeah.
so I don't want to, you know. Uh, Go back there, and I take it as a learning lesson, things like that, but I don't want to be reminded of that, because I know some what I call hardcore 12 steppers.
Hmm.
Man, oh man, it's like, oh geez, I heard this story. Okay, no, you know. So anyway, yeah. Okay.
I appreciate you sharing your story. And
No, my
I
pleasure.
and I love that you bring a lot of like depth to it. You had a lot of like insight and education talking and you know, and you follow me on all my platforms.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love the support. It's absolutely phenomenal.
No, I think you're doing a great job. Keep it up. And if you ever need any other thing from me, just let me know. Because I enjoy doing this, and to me, it's a win-win. If
Yeah.
I can help somebody, it helps me. So to me, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
So just
And
let
that's
me
how
just.
I look at it. That's how I look
Mhm.
at it. I'm like, you telling your story is helping somebody else.
Yeah, yeah,
Because not everybody wants to just, I mean, can repeat myself like a broken record all the time, but it's
hmm,
nice to bring in other people's uh,
yep,
stories.
yep.
It
Nope, I
helps.
agree.
But all right, well, Ken, I appreciate it and thank you. And uh, I'm sure we'll be in touch soon.